Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you are all having a lovely Friday and already getting ready for the weekend. But just before that, a nice touch. So welcome, everyone, to the first online masterclass provided to you by Women for Cyber. Just a few words on Women for Cyber. We are an initiative launched to help fill the gap of cybersecurity professionals in Europe. One of the first steps is to boost the participation of girls and women in cybersecurity professions and education, encouraging the skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. So targeting girls in universities, but also junior professionals, reorientation. As an objective, our objective and mission are comprehensive, so our actions and activities covering community building, awareness, encouraging companies to implement trainings and courses, but also reaching out to the political level. Our activities are supported by the Women for Cyber Foundation, which has a decision-making body, and the Women for Cyber Council, which is an ad hoc advisory body providing strategic recommendations to the decision-making body on the activities of the foundation. So this leads me to introduce you to Christine Skropke, who is a member of the Women for Cyber Council, but in her day job, she is head of public affairs at Secunet Security Networks, which is a company providing services and solutions on computer and network security. Please mute yourselves. Okay, so this is a computer and network security, including digital infrastructures and data security. Secunet is considered as Germany's leading cybersecurity company. So before I give in the floor to Christina, I'd like to highlight a few small rules to ensure that this goes as smoothly as possible and make this experience as enjoyable as possible for everyone. So first of all, I will kindly ask you all to make sure that you are muted to avoid any background noises, as just amplified a few seconds earlier. So once Christina is done with her initial comments, we will open a Q&A session. If you have questions, please raise your hand, the available button, and wait until I invite you to speak, so then you can unmute yourself. Also, don't hesitate to use the chat, which we will be monitoring, though we encourage you to have a live exchange with Christina, which is the point of this masterclass. So now I am just wishing you all a nice session, and Christina, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nina. And yes, it's an honor for me really to run this class today. And I really would like to have a very open discussion and dialogue with you. So I give you a little introduction on me as a person, on what do I do, where do I come from, and what has challenged me a lot in my life, in my business life, which has not always been cybersecurity. And I really welcome all questions, and don't take me too serious in some points, because sometimes I always like to make a little bit, fun of things, because I think our daily life is serious enough, so we should also have a little twinkle in the eye the one or other time. So first of all, what do I do? Nina, you introduced me very well. I'm at Secunet Security Networks AG in Germany. We're based in Essen. My office is in Essen at the moment. As you can see in the background, I'm also in the home office, and I joined Secunet in 2009, and was for 8 years I was responsible for the marketing and communication, and since 2017 I'm responsible for the public affairs, which is political work and work with the associations and various groups which are important for Secunet and our daily business. And during that time, I have actually started to get some more positions in various associations. I just want to raise some of the, which are taking also a lot of time and a lot of my energy and input is since for 1 year, I'm the president of Albeit, which is a regional IT security association in the Ruhrgebiet in North Rhine-Westphalia. And I'm also at the executive committee of FCA International. This is an international association which is about IT and security and communication in the military surroundings. So that is from the defense sector, and that is the executive committee of the Worldwide Association. Newly this year, I'm in the steering board of the German Industry Association, BDI, it's a short form, in the working group of cybersecurity and industry protection. Bitkom, of course, is a very important association for us. And when it comes to the European view, it is, of course, EXO, where I'm in the Council of Women for Cyber. I'm part of the partnership board, which is the industry board, which is communicating with the EU Commission and did a lot of recommendations and exchange of ideas for the Horizon 2020 and the newly Horizon and Horizon Europe and Digital Europe programs. And well, the last appointment, and that was really an appointment for me, is since July, I have been appointed to be part of the advisory group of ENISA, which are 21 advisors, people from various businesses, and I'm really honored to be on that group. But that is something which is today, and the more interesting, and that was also the title of this masterclass, is how did I get there? And I have to be very honest, when I joined Secunet 2009, I had no clue on IT. Yes, I was a heavy user in PowerPoint, in Word, in Excel, and I knew how to create a website and do all the marketing businesses, because my first job was not IT and not in the IT business. I worked for more than 20 years in the banking. But when I joined, when I had my meetings and my application meetings with Secunet, I didn't feel uncomfortable to join into the cybersecurity sector, because when working in the bank from the very first day when I was 19 years, when I joined after school, there was something very important. This is the data protection. That was something, the banking secret was one of the most important things we learned, and there was so much in common with the IT security, that you really protect the infrastructure, the data, and it's all about well, secrecy and security, and that was why I felt very comfortable working at Secunet from the beginning on, and. Well, I had to change a little bit because when 2007, 2008 big banking crisis, everybody knows it started, and after so many years, the banks went through a transformation, and it was important to make a new step in my business approach. And I had, next to my banking education, I had a marketing education, and also I went on a studies for public relations. So I have my bachelor degree in public relations. So I felt that I have enough skills to change the sector and not staying in the banking sector. So that is probably something very important which came up during my business life every time. So do you know your strengths and your skills? And and my skills were not that time technical skills, and they are still not. But joining into Secunet was, I had very high respect what happens in the techniques, and I had never ever the ambition to become to do the coding, because I knew I'm far too old to learn that, probably, but I knew that the interdisciplinary work was so important for me to make use of my experiences from the job I had before, working a lot with clients when I worked as a bank clerk, working on the marketing and the communication. And still today, my main job is actually to translate the technical language into a regular language so that politicians can understand what we talk about, so that we get the big picture, the overview, and to connect also the processes and ideas and solutions from the analog world into the digital world. And that is a way where I still have a lot of respect when I have to do some things at my computer and it doesn't work. Don't worry, I get same nervous as many other people without digital skills too. So, but I always want to understand what happens. And in the first years at Secunet, I had to learn the products, of course, and not to learn how to code the products, not to learn what is deep in the techniques, but to learn the architecture, to understand what it's about. So we have our SINA product solution, which is for classified information in a lot of German and European public authorities. And so I really had to understand what's it about. Why is this product so good, or why is it better maybe compared to other products and to competitors? That was my marketing job, and that was the way how I learned about the technique, and I also understood what is the environment and what are the client's needs. I think that is something which I could really compare with my banking job the 20 years before. So there was a lot in common. And when I look back now, so I learned during my path, and when I talked to Nina this morning, and we discussed a little bit what shall I talk about, what could be interesting for you. I still have a high respect for all technicians, but I hope they also have the respect for other disciplines like us as communicators and those who do the policies and politics. It is so important that I know my limits. I know where are my technical limits and my knowledge, and I never go over that or say that I know everything. No, I don't know everything. And I really listen very careful when people talk about all the cybersecurity acts in detail and the certification schemes, etc. So I want to understand it, but I know I will never be in the technical process of that. And I know the ISO 27001 certification, which you need as critical infrastructure for the ISMS. Yes, but to implement it at the client, I leave that to the specialists. So that is where I always know this is. I get the big picture. I know what the context is we are talking about, but I know my strengths. I know how to interconnect all these topics, and but I also know where my limits are, and then I start to listen very careful. So that is probably something which is my recipe, or has been my recipe in the past years, and which worked quite well. And in that way, I stayed authentic and probably trustworthy, which is something in our sector very important. You may ask probably my challenges. Well, a challenge, and that is not something typical in the cybersecurity sector. I think a challenge is always that as a young woman, to stay on your position, not to get too easy move to the side. So I know what I can do, and I want to bring in my knowledge into a project, into a solution. And yes, there were many situations where I was probably not taking serious, or when they don't accept you so much, but you have to stand that. So that can happen anytime. That can happen with men, with women. That is not a gender issue. Well, the IT security, the IT sector in general, and IT security especially, is very male-dominated. But maybe I made a challenge and a positive thing out of that, because I'm one of the very rare women in many meetings, And I can tell you, they always remember my face, not of that of the other 10 or 15 men sitting in the round. So you can make a unique selling proposition of that when you are one of the rare women in meetings. But I always stick to my line and to my personality, and I don't wear. I still like to wear high heels if it fits, but I go in sneakers if it fits. But this is my decision on it. Has to be authentic to my personality. I think that is something which was my path through the last years. But I think I have talked a lot, and I think that is maybe that can open up a little bit the discussion, and I'm curious to learn more from all the participants, and I see some familiar names and faces, so that is great, and look forward now to your questions.
Thank you very much, Christina. This was a very enlightening presentation. So staying true to ourselves, this is the key message, right? Okay, so we are happy to take any questions that you might have. So please don't hesitate to come forward. Now we are waiting to hear from you. So to give you a few seconds to make up your minds, maybe first question from me to you, Christina. You have talked about your challenges that you've encountered in meetings and mentioned this really sore point when speaking you are not taken seriously. How concretely do you handle this in a situation when it happens? Is there like a step-by-step approach, or you just improvise? How would you handle it?
Well, I think it depends on the situation, and it depends on the person. So if I'm in a group of people internally in the company, then you usually know each other, or if there are new colleagues, that is a little bit more sensitive, and I think it's important to get high respect each other. So it's not a one-sided thing. It's a two-sided. It's always a two-sided thing. It's a dialogue, and when you get attacked or not taking serious, I always stick to the subject in the discussion, and then moved over. I didn't make a big fuss out of it, never, because it doesn't help you to escalate. Not in a group, so I stick to the discussion, to the project or whatever we were working at, and if it happens more than one time, then I think it's if it's an important person, or I think it's an important person for me to work together, it's something you can talk about only two. So among two and not in a group. I think that is something to show respect also to the other person, and say, I wasn't happy about the way you pushed me to the side with my points I raised, for example. But it very, very rarely happened, because those people who want to try to get a little bit more attention, they do it once or twice, and then they stop it when they don't get their results they want to achieve. So sometimes it's better to stay patient and stay to the subject, and not to escalate. But if it's really getting worse and very personal, it is important also to show straight back, and but to do it on a very I always like to do it in a diplomatical and sensitive way, and not just to escalate because I want to escalate it. If it's externally, I always think about, is that person important for me? If not, if it's someone who's joining a meeting when we are with big associations and you have 30, 40 people, I really try to evaluate a little bit is it now important to touch that issue? Or, I mean, today I really have to say it has changed a lot in the past years. Today they blame themselves more with such a behavior than they blame you as a woman in the round. So I stay a little bit more relaxed probably with that. It's not always easy, but it helps.
Yes, of course, I can only. And these are, I think, really wise words to take into account and to keep in mind for the rest of our careers. Just stay calm and move on. Thank you. Okay, so now please, if you have any questions, come forward. I see that we are currently 33 participants in this masterclass. And I cannot imagine that none of you have 0 questions. So please.
Actually, I do have a question, if I may.
Sure.
Can you see me properly?
Yes. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. So I'm French. I'm a student at Sciences Po. I'm studying international relations and political science. So I'm very interested in cybersecurity activities, but because I'm studying political science and international relations, I don't have any like technical skills, even though I'm like really passionate about the cybersecurity. So I'm really curious to maybe having some advice from professionals about how it is possible to work and making my knowledge, for example, in international relations, very relevant to cybersecurity activities, if jobs do exist like linking technical knowledge and international relations. I don't know if it's very clear.
Yes, it is very clear, because it is actually what I'm doing, and yes, I'm happy to answer. Well, first I would like, if you're not a technician, never apply on a technical job, but yes, please apply at a technical company, because the technical companies need experts like you. And cybersecurity is not a national thing, and it has no borders. That's something what we explain every day when we talk about the digitalization. So we always have to take a look on the international range and effects and the relationships. So the learning on the technical skills starts at the job, actually. So when you, with your education, look into like a political environment, public affairs, governmental affairs, or the communication department, where you talk about press releases, social media, this is a good step to go in and learn about what the company is doing. And my experience is that stepping into Secunet really from day one, and I said, I don't know anything about IT security, and they really had a big smile. I said, okay, then let's start. And they were so open and happy to teach me, to explain me, and I remember that we had really very vivid, very lively discussions when it came to naming new products, because you have the view from the other side, from the user side. And that is something which is very important, because the technicians are so deep in their technique. They have created this new solution and product, and they know every single corner in there and every single code. But sometimes you need the view from outside, that you can ask the questions. A client will ask, maybe not the technical administrator from the client side, but the decision makers are in general not technical people. They are lawyers, they come from the law or from other disciplines, but and they also have to understand, why should I buy now? Why should I spend money on that product? And that is something where you could help.
Thank you very much.
Can I also ask a question? Good afternoon.
Hello? Yes.
Hello,
Hello.
yes, please.
Yes, yeah. My name is Arina Leroy, and I'm from Brussels. However, I have been living before in Czech Republic, in Prague. I'm working as a product manager for cybersecurity software here in Belgium. Thank you very much for your presentation and all of the people who is having taken the time and listening us. It's important topics we are discussing, how to be active and how to be successful in our roles, especially in cybersecurity field, which is more belongs to the male world, I would say. I just would like to contribute and to share very briefly my experience, and at the end to ask the question. When I'm working with products and with the customers, I do believe that certain technical skills, it's absolutely essential. I'm also having market education in the marketing and journalism, but I also have education in economy, and now I do my PhD in economy and cybersecurity. Why it's important to have a technical skills? Because because architecture and logic, in my opinion, we cannot build without certain knowledge. And when I'm discussing with customers why port number 80, it's important to show, or port number 443 are not important, or vice versa, whatever, it's just example. I need to understand what is the behind it, because I cannot only evaluate and as a kit to guess. I should have a certain background in order to prove why certain information needs to be showed in this particular moment. And also when I'm writing the specification or when I'm discussing how to protect company and how to analyze the attack surface, I need to know where is the potential gaps. I will not be able to do that without certain skills and knowledge in this area, without participating conferences and webinars like your webinar. I would not be able to do that without the knowledge for example, in the cloud service. So without understanding that certain cloud providers are more reliable, or without understanding that Drupal programming language are more vulnerable than, for example, for instance, HT++, or it's better, for example, to really have our data stored in 3 cloud providers and multi-data center than in one. Without that knowledge, first, I am putting my company or my customer in a certain danger, and third, and second, I'm just not growing. I'm just stuck in the same level. And this is important to mention for me, to you as my experience, because I have been working in IT all my life, despite of the fact that my first education is journalism, and now I do PhD in cybersecurity and economy. And the last point I want to mention, yes, maybe we are sitting in the room with men who is asking and looking at us like we are not knowledgeable enough to argue with them. However, I believe it depends how we behave. It depends what kind of knowledge and arguments we are making. I personally didn't have experience when I had to argue with a man, or they treated me because I am less experienced because I have a skirt. No, I didn't have the experience, never. I had experience when they treated differently or looking differently if my questions are out of the subject or it's naive. So my question maybe to the audience is, if you think certain technical knowledge and which technical knowledge are essential to have in order to succeed in this area.
Okay, may I just give a short comment to you, Irina? Thank you so much.
Sure.
I fully agree what you say in the area you are working, and that is what I mentioned. I have high respect on your knowledge and all the people like you working in the technical technical level. And yes, you are right. When you are in a client consulting a client, you have to know that. But I don't do that. That is what I mentioned. I know my limits. I don't go that deep into a client consultation because that is not my knowledge. There are my colleagues, the experts who do that. But I can tell you another example. I was working a lot in the working and supporting my colleagues in the defense area. And there you have, on the military side, you have a certain group of people who have a very, very deep technical knowledge. But on some levels, you have like a general level or the colonel level who are not originally in their daily work responsible for IT or communication, etc. They might have completely different skills, but they have to decide on a big project. They have their experts, but their experts only talk in the expert language. And my experience is that they would never say, I don't understand. Maybe they say at the end, I don't decide, in brackets, because I don't understand, because I don't understand what to decide. And that is what I mentioned earlier, that you also need the level of the translation. When I talk to this general, and I have talked to my colleagues, I explain the general what is happening and what they are doing. In those words he's understanding, and I make him understand what is the result of using this product or these solutions, or why this should be connected in such a way. But I'm prepared by my techniques and by my specialists so that I really do understand, but I don't go deeper into what kind of port needs to be connected, how, and etc. So that is a different level. So that is what I always mean. I know my limits. I know I cannot go into these discussions, but I can see when I join meetings with my colleagues, with the technical colleagues, if there's someone at the table whose attention is losing because he's not understanding what the technicians are talking about. And that is dangerous when that is the decision maker, when he's losing attention and he has to step out because he doesn't understand what you're talking about. So that is a connection in between. But I'm also curious now to learn from your last question, learn from all the others. What are skills we should know? Because I'm happy also to learn more skills, and I'm always curious to be in what is important to know in the cybersecurity. Yes, I do have some technical skills, but that is something I learned in the everyday with Secunet. But it's very much on the surface, very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for the answer. And I totally agree. To involve specialists in a certain area, when you go very deep, is essential. I have, for that reason, in my job, I have a cybersecurity analyst who is much deeper than I am. Yeah, sure, I agree.
Thank you, Irina, and thank you, Christina, for this very reply. And indeed, I think this is one of the things that Women for Cyber has been trying to promote as well, is to show that soft skills are as much important as hard skills when working in cybersecurity. Okay, so next question. I see that Antti Pinakulaki has raised her hand. So please.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Antti Pinakulaki from Greece, and I'm an auditor. I'm interested in cybersecurity because I think it's really useful in auditing, but I don't have the technical skills. Could you please tell me with what should I start with? Because I know, as you said, that there are limitations. So with what should I learn first so that I can go deeper and deeper in cybersecurity?
Well, I also give this question to the floor because I know we have a lot of experts in this round. I think the first view on cybersecurity could be where are the the dangerous points for a company or for your clients. So that means what could be the attack points? What could be entrances for a ransomware, for attacks in companies? And we always say the weakest point is actually the human being. So there are some ways you can really go slowly into that topic, maybe to start with an awareness course that because that explains for every day, for every member in a team, for every employee in a company, what is important to take care of, not to use a stick you don't know in which computer it was before, what kind of data are on the stick, having a firewall, how about a network in a company. That is something classical awareness courses can give you a first attention. And I think from there you can go deeper into the next steps to understand. And for you, probably it's also the legal aspect is very important to get to know where are I'm missing the English words now. Nina, you have to help me. So where do you have points in liability and responsibility? The compliance, the IT compliance is probably something you should take a look at. But I'm very sure that there are interesting courses, classes where you can go and educate yourself. Maybe that gives you a little first idea on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I see there are also some comments in the chats to everyone from Joanne. Well, Joanne, please feel free also to unmute yourself and tell us about your comment. No?
Yes, I would love to. I think it's just starting. Okay, my camera is a little bit slow, but I think you might hear me. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanne. I'm currently working as marketing specialist in a German IT consultancy and system house. And I really love to exchange with you, and thank you very much for setting up the session and everything. Thanks a lot. You're doing a great job here. And yeah, I would like to elaborate on your question, Antti. I think that as for example, I am also working in the field of IT infrastructure marketing, that the fundamentals of IT infrastructure would be a good starting point for you, because that will help you a lot to understand the basics, the fundamentals, and maybe also, for example, to estimate client situations or especially data management and also regulations like GDPR, and as Ms. Skropke also said, for example, things like compliance, etc., that may really help you, I think.
Thank you, Joanne. Raised hands before they disappeared. Do you still want to say something, Cosmina?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Cosmina Mogyor. I'm a public policy expert, and in my work, I have to participate in different meetings with people from all over Europe in regulation and public policy area. And there were instances when there were meetings which approach more technical subjects like cybersecurity certification. And on that subject, the discussions were quite technical, and I felt that I also needed more technical preparation or
education, and I was wondering at what level the education in a technical field is required to be. How formal should the education be in this area? Because I felt, sorry for continuing my question, I felt sometimes that there is a low legitimacy in what I was commenting on, because I have no technical education.
I really invite also all the others to comment and to answer the questions in our group. But Cosmina, from my side, I work on the everyday on legal issues, on the policy issues, and I'm neither a lawyer nor a technician, but to for example, in Germany, we are now discussing about the IT Security Act 2.0. And yes, there are sections in where it becomes very technical. And that is when I take my specialist, my colleague, to my side to consult me, to explain me what the context is. And for example, we were talking about relevant components in a network, where I honestly have to step out of. I have to be coached and taught by my colleagues in order to understand and to comment on these legal aspects. And but 80% of the law is so on such a level where I can do it from my knowledge from the company. So and I agree. I saw a lot in the past 2 years that lawyers comment on drafts for a new law who also have not the technical skill, and then it goes into, from our point, very often into a completely wrong direction with the commenting. But they are very self-confident, and they are the lawyers, and they put the comments in. And then we always, as a specialist company, have to fight against these positions, because there is no technical background in it. It's only on the political level. How can I help you? I think you need a network where you can ask people. That is what we do at Secunet. We talk a lot to also to politicians, to members of parliament, and there are many who have very good knowledge on IT and IT security. I really have to underline that. But those who feel not very comfortable, they come and ask for advice, or they not advice, they ask, can you please explain me how that works? Because I have to work on that draft for the new law. And build up your network and ask for advice, ask them to explain it to you, and that is the first step. And then you also build up your knowledge.
Thank you, Christina. I also seen offering some solutions. I see that one of my colleagues wrote about plural sites, and also Marie-Lise, who wrote about Isaka's training courses for those of you interested in gaining extra skills in cybersecurity. So as you can see, the internet is full to get complementary skills. You just need the motivation and the dedication. And I guess, as Christina said, it's also, no matter your background or education, there are always skills that you catch on when working and exchanging with people or your team. I can say that this is also very relevant from my own experience as well. I have zero technical background, and every day I'm learning about something new on cybersecurity. Now, before moving on to the next questions, I have a special request from our general, Luigi Rebuffi, who would like also to, well, maybe he has a question for you, Christina. Let's see what he wants to say. Luigi?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Actually, maybe more a comment than a question to Christina, which I know quite well. Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for having joined us today, this afternoon, for this first trial. Let me call it. It's really a try to see how it goes, to build up what I think it could be the Women for Cyber community. Just the beginning of the dialogue. You mentioned several times it's a dialogue. Indeed, that was the first intent. You could say I'm all wrong. I'm a man. I'm a technician. So exactly not what is the topic of today. Nevertheless, let me say, as a technician, I was somehow dealing with cybersecurity. Well, IT, let me say, something like 40 years ago, I was a specialist. 40. Many of you were not born at that time. But it happens that cybersecurity, even a few years ago, was something that maybe somebody could have mastered, the global cybersecurity, but today is not possible. So when you think I want to become a tech specialist in cybersecurity, maybe you can become a tech specialist on a very specific sector. So don't dream to be the overall genius covering all cybersecurity. So no dream. So when at the question I heard, very interesting question to say, I would like to get more knowledge on technical issues. Let's say first start with a global view, as Christina said, an awareness, and then go deep down, and maybe you find something, a specialty. I have recently, well, it happens that I'm a dreamer or a visionary, if you want. I'm the one who proposed the creation of Women for Cyber, also because in my team, we have more women than men, because always recognize that complementary, but the skills of women are very complementary, very important to go beyond what only men can think. As I said, I have been contacted several times recently by girls, students, saying, well, I'm not STEM person, but in my interviews at the companies, I'm requested to have some technical competence. And I'm looking for something like a 6-month course, something like this. This is somehow the question you're also having these days. Well, you have to know that in EXO, the European Cybersecurity Organization, we are also supporting, for which we're running the Women for Cyber. This we have also a working group which is dealing with education training of everybody. And we have started an initiative which is still at the beginning, we call Youth for Cyber, where we try to give a first glance of what could be cybersecurity for a career, but also for cyber hygiene to people, let's say called people, from the age of 6 up to 26, so very young. And then there is another, so we try to say, okay, this is the beginning of the story, but then you, of course, as you pointed out also in the chat, you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper and try to follow certain courses and so on. And this is an idea I'm still having, and Nina will likely kill me because I never spoke about that. So the first time I'm introducing this idea. Okay, Nina, you laugh. I was thinking that maybe probably we have to create a kind of, not only a community of discussion like this one, which is great, but also probably we have to link maybe with our working group dealing with education and training. We have to do something, a kind of a network. Well, thanks to COVID or the Corona, whatever you want to call it, that we are obliged to work remotely, so we can create link across those bodies, universities or whatever, which are providing education, and try to see how to shape a kind of, call it a European Academy for cyber women. Something which is not only for men, but really pushing girls, women, whatever, to follow this and to consider maybe also tackling something specific issue that you are mentioning. I'm a woman, I'm not technical, what I can do. So, and this is not usually, these are not topic developed in the traditional courses when you have in university. So maybe we could think at something like this. It's the first time I'm proposing this among even before my team and Christine. But I think it's doable very easily. Thanks also, I would say, to this fact that now we are networked through this video, and it's not a big effort, but I think the return could be very important for all the students and all those people who want to start looking more deeply into cybersecurity. That's all.
Thank you, Luigi. Why am I feeling dread on my spine? Yes, indeed, you are a visionary, and every time you come up with ideas, we do know that there is an additional workload for your team. Christina, if you want to comment on this?
Yes, please. I would love to have that, Luigi. I would also join that academy because I know that I could do more at my technical skills, but I know how much I probably need more, but I know that I don't want to start coding. But as you mentioned, everybody has to find its niche or its also talents. So where do I want to step in, and what is important? And interestingly, the university in Bochum, where I'm the president of the association, they have started in the early 2000s to develop master studies, a bachelor and master studies in IT and cybersecurity on an interdisciplinary way. They always involved machine building, lawyers, all the other parts from the university into their studies in order to have the different views on it. And we have, I saw that there's a Clara, who is a trainer. I'd love to hear more from you, Clara. But I think we could find, and with the research institutes we have with other education institutions, to set up a course which is not a presence course. I think that is important, that we can do it online. That is something we can network European-wide. Clara, I put that question to you. You're a trainer, I saw in the chat.
Yeah, let me unmute myself now. Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the words. I was surprised because I participate in many of these events, and rarely we cover training the fact that is the most needed thing in cybersecurity now for men, women, children, and alike. Maybe it's useful for you, but also for participants. I arrived in cybersecurity with no technical background. Background was in security, yes, on EU security policies, so justice and home affairs. And then I've started specializing in cybersecurity, and the angle we take is on the EU legislative framework, for example, the NIS directive, the standards underlying. So the work I do actually reminds me yours, in the sense that we try to unpack the legal definitions and connect them to what they mean in practice without de facto having technical background. And I do think that a concern I see for many here is, do we need a technical background, and to what extent? Like in everything, yes, it's always useful. So that's part of your continuous development. But it depends on what you need to do. If you need to advise policymakers or to train them, probably not. You don't need to explain them the how. You just need to have a sufficient understanding so that you can re-explain those concepts. So I just wanted to say about my experience, I don't have an IT background. I actually regret it because I'm becoming more and more fascinated by the whole topic. And on the idea of having a training, I wanted to share the experience we're trying to, starting from participation to our classes, to create a community of practice and a knowledge sharing hub. Really an informal platform, a little bit like this one, nothing in competition really, it's complementary, and I'm sharing the idea because I think it's a nice one. So we started with an online forum where people from different EU agencies, completely different jobs, one from Frontex, one from NATO, one from EASA, very different jobs, they can still participate and share readings, share their daily experiences, ask each other questions, So I do think that it's important to invest more in training. And of course, I train, so of course I think that. But in general, cybersecurity is a huge field. It is going to develop in a very sectorial level as well. So at some point, expertise will need to be really sectorial. We're talking about maritime cybersecurity, energy and cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. So, and in that, I see the job opportunities. The more specialized you are, of course, keeping your general knowledge, and the more useful you be in specific sector. So just sharing some thoughts, and thank you so much for listening. I hope it's been useful.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is very interesting, Clara, and I fully even Luigi mentioned the European Cybersecurity Organization for which I work, and if you look at it, we also cover so many different topics because cybersecurity has so many different aspects as well to work on. Indeed, there are the sectoral applications as well, but even for cybersecurity itself, certification was mentioned before, but also the markets and trainings. Of course, trainings are the core of it all, and we are not only speaking about university education, but also in company trainings as well. So even if we do not choose a certain path in university, there are still opportunities out there. Okay, Christina, let's maybe move to Carolina, who wrote in the chat that she has amazing sales skills with basic technical skills. Carolina, you want to say a few words?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Good afternoon from Germany. I'm super excited about this. I started actually 2 weeks ago with my new job and I was extremely scared. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? This is an amazing position in sales, in hardware. I am currently learning about a new technology that's coming into the market, but I have no technical skills, just like I took an AWS certification and that's it. And the company was only men. I was the only woman here, and I was super scared actually to start. I didn't have any connections in the area, and I was thinking, what can I do? How can I build myself right now a career in this area? I was extremely interested in the topic, but I was very lonely in it. And I just went for it. I just took the chance. I went for it. I started making connections, and it has been the 2 most amazing weeks of my life. I have learned so many things. And if I can motivate anyone else that's, starting there, feeling, what's this gonna happen? It's amazing. There are so many opportunities. The market is huge. The people are super excited. Right now with Corona, of course, it's a moment where it's a little like we don't know what's gonna happen, and the hackers right now are online doing terrible things. So it's an amazing opportunity to do something good online, to do something great for people as well. So I just wanted to say hi. Thank you so much for this space and for the opportunity to talk about these things. I think it's super important to see other women that have made their careers in this area. And if you want to connect, of course, I'm here. I love sales. I love marketing. I see that there's, of course, a lack of this selling skills part in the area. So yeah, that's just me and saying hi. And I find this space extremely important and nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carolina, and for your positive comments. This is very encouraging indeed, and I do hope that many of the students following us today on in this webinar are intrigued now, and then maybe we'll choose such a path. And also welcome to the Women for Cyber community. Now, I think we have a question from Yetzabel. I'm sorry if I'm botching up your name.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to add something. So I'm Yetzabel Serna, and I'm working in cybersecurity for more than 20 years. I do have a technical background, and I'm a computer scientist. and I also work as a junior professor and as a trainer in Continental and as an incident response manager. So yeah, I don't have a specific question, but since I see that there are many very young women here that are willing to learn and so on, I just wanted to kind of volunteer to this initiative whenever I can contribute. As I said, I have experience in training, in education, and also in technical topics related to cybersecurity in some of the domains, because as I think it was Luigi who said, is right now is not possible to say that you are an expert in each and every domain of cybersecurity. We have so many topics and so many things it's still to learn, but whenever I can contribute, you can of course count on me.
Okay, thank you, Jezebel. I need to intervene now because I really see from I see from what I hear, or yeah, from what I see, that there is a real need to build up this community. I mean, several of you already proposed to contribute. So maybe what we could do, not only to build up with what Christina started as a masterclass and continue and find other people just to trigger discussion, but also build up this European cyber women for cyber community, not only with the ladies with the big experience, but also building from the bottom with the people like you, which are listening today, which are contributing today, asking for question: what can I do? What should I go? How can I improve? And for those of you who have already an experience, which could help. A database which can be closed together with the database that the Commission has set up, the registry for women. But we could have really build up a database, if you allow us, with your mail contacts and so on, where we could really get close to you and establish contact for the future, to allow you interacting directly if you want, or supported by us in some specific environment, let me say, in the future, to help you growing, to help you developing, and maybe, as I said, maybe building up this kind of not only masterclass by a single person, but really structured, let's say, approaches, not to say class, for maybe with courses provided by this or that body, university or whatever, which can really help you to go deeper and maybe help you choosing the way that where you can go further in a specific detail, as Jezebel just said it, to go where you can find really your added value. Because I'm really convinced that each one of us, men or women, we have some added value. Maybe sometimes we don't know, we have to discover, but once we discover it, I mean, we can go very, very far. And I can tell you, just to give an example of Nina. Nina came to EXO. She came out as a student. She was a stagiaire, a trainee, and then she got a position as a secretary because that was an urgent need at that moment. And now she is a manager in this Women for Cyber, in link with all the chief information security officer, different user around Europe. And okay, and she is performing very well and still very young. So you can learn, you can enjoy, and you can develop yourself. I mean, I think you can continue learning in cybersecurity for the next 50 years. Always something new.
Thank you, Luigi. And it's very heartwarming to receive a live compliment from your own boss. I actually, for those of you interested, I have put in the chat our Women for Cyber email address and the website. If you want to contribute, don't hesitate. And also, if you have questions after this webinar as well, or if you want to reach out to Christina, please do send us an email and we'll be happy to get back to you on this. Christina, maybe you have further comments, but first we have a question from Mirva Johansson. Mirva, do you want to tell us live your question, please? No? Okay, well then I will say it myself.
But Nina, yeah, I can answer directly to the question in the chat if you want me. So Mirva, you are from Finland, and your question was about the defense sector. I can tell you that the defense sector is heavily looking for experts in security and heavily looking for women. To get a better gender balance. And that is not only in Germany, I think that is all over Europe, although that is maybe a little tough environment, but you are experienced with the defense sector, as I can see, looking into what happens, and I think that is not only a specialty of the defense sector. I think all industry sectors are going through a transformation now. The need to digitalize their processes, their productions. Some of them have already, some are maybe on the track to do it. And with the defense sector, there are some areas which are still on the transformation to, we call it the digital convergence. The digital convergence of the classical, you have a submarine boat, you have a frigate, you have an airplane. Well, we know that the Eurofighter is probably the biggest flying computer, but also in the classical land defense area, it is this digital convergence going in that everything gets very digital, and we call it now the new steps, the smart armed forces, because they really have to look into so many technical things. And it's not only shooter or sensor, things like that. So I can really well support you and encourage you to contact your Finnish armed forces and see what possibilities you have there, because everybody needs to digitalize, or looking into the defense sector where the products come from. So they are all open now for having IT security and IT experts in. A wide, not wild, oh, that was a misspelling. A wide range where we can act, because the IT security is crossover, and that is something. Well, when we start this academy and when we all train our skills, I think that is one of the sectors for the future, which will not get smaller than even larger.
Thank you, Christina. Mirva, I hope this answers your question. So I see here there's a comment from Kiki online. Kiki, do you want to tell us more about the GSMA maybe and what it is? No? Okay, well, there is the link on to the website. So this is a very nice invitation. Thank you, Kiki. I'm sure we will make sure to register. Okay, I think that this has been going on quite well for a first attempt to a masterclass. Are there any further questions from the floor? No? Okay. Well, Christina, one last question from my side then. This is it can be easy or tricky question, but in general, what would be your advice to all these students or aspiring future cybersecurity professionals to move on in their careers, or to get engaged, to get committed in the cybersecurity field? What is exciting about it?
Well, my advice would be know your limits, know your strengths, work on your strengths, and reduce your limits. That is something I have learned when I was a sportswoman in early ages. Always work on your strengths. That is so important, and stay curious. I think that is something which is for me, which drives me every day. That there have always been jobs, interesting jobs, but I really have to say that in the past 12 years since working for Secunet, I have learned so much, and every day. And whether it is on legal aspects, whether it's on technical aspects. So stay curious and pick the new topics you have a chance to work on, and then you develop yourself automatically. It's never boring.
This is some great advice, Christina. I guess we can say stay open-minded, and this is a lesson that we all need to stick to in every aspect of our lives as well, I guess.
Thank you for organizing, Nina and Excel. It was great pleasure for me too.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Christina, again for accepting to do this masterclass. It was a pleasure, and thank you to all participants for connecting today. Thank you for your questions, for your curiosity today. We will follow with another masterclass, so stay tuned. Follow our channels. We are Women for Service present on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram as well. We have some cool visuals, so do go check them. and yes, and as I mentioned in the chat, you can always reach out to us for with any questions, requests, or possibilities to partner. We are open to everything as long as it's to help our community. We do everything for our community. Christina, again, thank you so much for being a great supporter of Women for Cyber, of EXO, and we are so looking forward to continuing our cooperation, our work with you. It's always a great pleasure. On this note, wish you all a great Friday afternoon and even a greater weekend to come, and see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.